Hi, everybody, wherever you may be, from coast to coast and sea to shining sea. Welcome back to your solar HF forecast. This will be for space weather, covering the HF bands from Wednesday, January 18th, and we're going to go all the way into Sunday, the 22nd. First, the A1A, and this gives us a really good example of a solid A1A that really pumps up the SFI. Magnetosphere view looks great, really does. You've got just about half the sunspots facing Earth in the northern hemisphere of the sun, and then you've got another half at the southern hemisphere. 3190 is one to watch. It's been very active, and it looks like it's going to be pretty close to a solar storm coming, not a solar storm, but a nice coronal mass ejection or possibly solar flare to pump up our SFI, hopefully. The solar coronal hole map. This is an area here where we're not getting anything bad from this. 67 and 8 are facing Earth, but we don't have an elevated solar wind component from these. Not at this point, at least, and there's not one to be expected. So noise floors a bit high, but they are expected to lower by the weekend. Last 3 days of solar flare detection there lists the 9 sunspots facing Earth, and we'll get a closer look at this, but before that, notice that we're getting a little more activity today than we did on Monday and Tuesday. I expect the SFI to possibly come up a little bit today, and it will slowly drop. We're not going to see a massive drop by Sunday, so excellent weekend conditions coming your way. D-layer global absorption map for folks in the Southland like Australia, New Zealand. It's 7 megahertz right now, 40 meters, attenuated right about 3 dB. So expect some attenuation today if you're anywhere under the sun directly overhead or close by. This map kind of shows everything just to about 10 megahertz and down, which is what we'd expect. But this should be a typical day, about 3 dB of attenuation on the 40 meter band. SFI 222, down 6 from yesterday. I don't think it's going to drop today. I think we may get a little bump today in the SFI. But if we do, it's going to be very slight. Smooth sunspot number 185. That's down 1 from yesterday. And the area number is 2290. It's down 120. Let's take a look at our noise floors. KP3 today. We also had a KP4 earlier. So noise floors should be right about this level the next day or so, and then expect noise floors to start to drop for the weekend. There's that KP3 currently as of Space Weather Live. This information here, of course, is from solarham.net. Excellent sites to find out about solar weather and what's going on for solar forecasting. Solar wind, there it is, 426.9 kilometers per second. This is not expected to increase to over 500 kilometers per second anytime this day. Current speed of the wind takes it about 59 minutes to propagate from the Discover spacecraft all the way to Earth. Kind of interesting news there. BZ latitude is north, and it will stay north today. I don't expect a southern BZ today, so QS Baker on the bands should be very minimal on both amateur radio and fading on shortwave. The 3-day geomagnetic forecast, this kind of shows how things are going to start to slow down and lower KP index going into the weekend. So a little noisy today and tomorrow. Friday, we should get a little bit quieter. I expect the weekend to be pretty quiet as well. QRZ conditions, SFI 222. Sunspot number is 152. A index that's a nice number at 6. K is 3. That's unsettled. You see EME degree there is fair. The Bravo Zulu latitude they showed there at the time they did this was 1.7. But we know that right now it's a little bit farther north, 3.54, which is fantastic. You take a look at the HF band conditions. It's similar to the other day where we showed it shows 30 and 20 meters daytime poor. It's because they include 30 in that. And for people in the southern hemisphere, 30 meters would be attenuated a little bit because of the global D-layer absorption. But great conditions in the northern hemisphere on 30 and 20 meters today. Also, 10 meters is outstanding in the northern hemisphere. Let's look at those maximum usable frequency maps. Here's a broad look at the Earth here with where 10 meters and the other meter bands are currently at worldwide, starting in the northern hemisphere. Expect the 10 meter band to come all the way up near Anchorage today in Alaska. And I believe tomorrow you're going to be getting 10 meters into Sweden, Norway, Denmark, throughout the United Kingdom. It's going to be a great day to work 10 meters south into Africa, or you can, of course, go to the southwest into the Middle East, and then in the afternoon work the States or work South America. Some great conditions for Europe tomorrow on 10 meters, and definitely 12 if you're a little farther north in Sweden and Norway. Southern Hemisphere, there is a little pocket right there of 15 meters just off the Brazil coast, and you kind of see it, that little circle there. Also, some 12-meter propagation there as well. The 28 megahertz band, so 10 meters, is going south, and it dips down a little bit, enough that when we get to Australia, both Australia and Tasmania will get 10 meters today. So expect both the North Islands and the South Island of New Zealand to be on 10 meters later today. And of course, in Japan, along the Pacific Rim, 10 meters should be very, very strong. I think you get 10 meters pretty much most of the world today. It's going to be a great day to use your radio. Solar cycle 25. Starting off fantastic, really is. This is from December. The January numbers, when they're added, are going to really bump this up high. This has been a phenomenal month so far. This is mimicking the quick rise that we had in solar cycle 21 and 19. We'll have to see just how well this does. And both 21 and 19 are amazing sunspot cycles. We'll see how this one all pairs out. Your forecast for amateur radio and shortwave DX through Sunday. Slowly decreasing SFIs. I think today we get a little bump in it. Not going to be a big one, but we're going to get a little bit, I think. Should remain above 200 through the weekend. Man, doesn't that feel good to say. Expect QSB in both hemispheres at times through Sunday. Noise floors S2 to S4 at times, but they will lower this weekend. Northern Hemisphere voice bands 20, 17, 15, 12, and 10. Equatorial latitudes 20, 17, 15, 12, and 10. Southern Hemisphere all the way past Tasmania and the South Island of New Zealand. We'll get 10 meters there, 20, 17, 15, 12, and 10. 11 meters, CB radio skip will be open today in the north, mid, and southern latitudes. Data modes look great for you daytime, 30 to 10 meters in the north, mid, and the south latitudes. Tonight on your amateur radio bands, expect maybe some QSB at times. It's not going to be too bad. I believe we're going to face a little more of it tomorrow and Friday. We'll have to see. Noise floors S1 to as high as an S4 at times, but they should lower by the time the weekend gets here. Nighttime amateur radio bands 160, 80, 60, 40, 30. And remember, your best DX is on your maximum usable frequency at sunset, and then work your way down to 40 and 80. Shortwave listeners, your daytime conditions, expect some fading at times tomorrow. I think today's going to be a fade-free day as that goes in shortwave. SFI to stay high enough for some amazing DX after sunset. Don't let go of bands like 15 and 19. 15 and 19 might work well past sunset if you've got a lot of sunlight where you're at in the world. Daytime shortwave should be 31, 25, 22, 19, 15, and 13. And again, 19 and 15 possible well after sunset to work those bands. Nighttime shortwave, expect some fading at times tomorrow. Noise floors lowering by the weekend. Shortwave nighttime 120, 90, 75, and 60. 49, 41, 31, 25, 22. And the 19 meter band open in the southern hemisphere about 3 hours after sunset, and up to 1 hour after sunset in the northern hemisphere. Now, with an SFI this high, 19 will carry really well after sunset because there's so much charge in the ionosphere. That's how it works. I hope you enjoyed the solar weather update that'll run through the weekend. Great time to work some amazing continents for you in amateur radio and to hear some great short wave as well. I'll be back with the Ham Radio live show for you in just a little while. Until then, wherever you may be, God bless you. Thanks for watching this weather statement from Ham Radio Live.